Hey, all you 40K fanatics, it's me, Casey, coming to you from the grim darkness of my garage one more time, bringing you all that sweet, succulent lore and content from the 40K universe that you love so much. Today, we're going to be talking about the Iron Warriors, the 4th Legion, the Siege Masters of the Emperor. So, without any further delay, let's get into it. From iron cometh strength, from strength cometh will. From will cometh faith. From faith cometh honor. From honor cometh iron. The 4th Legion of Space Marines, also known as the Iron Warriors, were a particularly interesting faction of Space Marines. Before they met their Primarch, they were pretty similar to what they were after they met their Primarch. They embodied a certain type of personality that, if I had to summarize it in words, it's basically telling your sons that it's not okay to cry, don't ever cry, and tough it out and see what happens. And that is quintessentially what the Iron Warriors are. So, the Iron Warriors were masters of siege and artillery warfare. They always fought in battles of attrition. Their service record before they met their Primarch was not that of high note, but it was not very bad either. They weren't the worst, but they weren't the best. Perturabo, their Primarch, noticed that whenever he was united with them. He saw things as logical as possible because he believed that war had to be as logical and by the numbers as possible because numbers were how you won battle, and the only way you win battle is becoming a war machine. The Iron Warriors had very similar mindset. Unfortunately for them, Perturabo took it upon himself to inflict decimation on his legion. Decimation was a sentence carried out upon the legion in which 10 for every 10 space marines they draw lots, and one would get the winner. That winner would be executed, but not only executed, he would be beat to death by the other 9 space marines. He did it to his entire legion. It made them bitter and resentful of Perturabo, but it also made them want to live up to his expectations in some weird and abusive way. Time and time again, the Iron Warriors and their Primarch Perturabo would fight for the Great Crusade in the Emperor's name, often teaming up with the Emperor's children because not only did they seek perfection in combat, but also the Iron Warriors sought perfection through a machine like grace in their warfare. They got along very well, if you could say that these two legions actually got along. In their spare time, the Iron Warriors would plan their siegecraft and train by playing tabletop war games with each other. That's right, guys. These Space Marines actually played Warhammer on the tabletop in their free time, just so that they can get better at siegecraft. The Iron Warriors were also known as the corpse grinders to the Imperial Army. If you were an Imperial Army soldier, you were really reluctant to join up with the Iron Warriors because Perturabo and his Iron Warriors would use the Imperial Army as sort of cannon fodder. They would either use them as scouts that were disposable, or they would use them as bullet sponges and even send them into high defended areas to probe the defenses of their enemies so that they can use the information to plan a better attack. Pretty messed up. However, the Iron Warriors would constantly lose soldiers themselves. The Space Marines would die in droves in these wars of attrition and siege warfare across the Great Crusade. Their numbers were, without a doubt, the highest per battle losses out of any other Space Marine. But thanks to Perturabo's tactician style of planning, he managed to draw new recruits that could quickly replenish and not even show a net loss in his numbers at the end of the day from his planet of Olympia. They were not too happy about that, but that's for another day. The Space Marines of the Iron Warrior Legion were often very bitter and very jaded because not only were they fighting in these wars of attrition and these wars of siegecraft, they were very, very dishonored because of this. You had the Ultramarines who fought blade to blade against their enemy in open warfare and won swiftly and brought great glory to themselves, whereas the other legions didn't really care for the Iron Warriors. Historically, they actually would take them out of the records. There was an engagement where the Space Wolves and the White Scars fought with the Iron Warriors. And if you look in the records to this day in the 40K setting, it says that an unknown force of the Imperial Army came and helped them because the Space Marines of the Iron Warriors actually came and bailed them out. Yeah. The Iron Warriors never won any accolades, they never won any praise, nor did they even ask for that sort of thing. But much like their Primarch, they expected it of them, and when they didn't get it, they didn't say anything, so it made them even more bitter and more jaded as time went on. In the end, they had been decimated and fought constantly throughout the Great Crusade, losing people over and over and over again. Only by the strength of Perturabo and his sound mind and the warsmiths that led the legion could they survive. The Iron Warriors had a very close following with the Mechanicum, believing that numbers and machines were how they could better operate in battle. They had lots of warsmiths, especially their leaders. Their leaders were all warsmiths. Perturabo often, if he ever did relay orders to his soldiers, would relay them to the warsmiths. Most of the time, though, he would just have a servitor do it, or he would just relay messages through the servitors, not even talk to anyone. As time went on, the Legion got more jaded and bitter, eventually coming to a culmination at the burning of their own home of Olympia. We'll get to that another day. So, the downfall of the Iron Warriors was ultimately brought down by their own bitterness and unwillingness to bend or express themselves and talk about their problems. They had all of these issues and never said anything, never stopped anything before it was a problem. They just toughed it out and gritted their teeth, and ultimately it ended with their downfall. And that has been the Iron Warriors. So, thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. Go on the Twitter if you can and give us a couple of follows. I post stuff daily there. I post photos of minis that me and my fellow co host Shane paint. I also post links to our podcast episodes. All the podcast episodes have been downloaded to YouTube, so we're really, really excited about that. And we'll be making moves in the future to improve the channel and the content that we bring to you guys. So, from me and the 40K Fanatics here in the grim darkness of my garage, see ya.